This is a basic tutorial and an introduction into Premiere. I've opened up Premiere and I've saved it into the same folder in which my content resides. And just like in After Effects, there is a window, a project window, in which all of our content should be imported. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to click on it, and I will either go to File, Import, or I will hit Command-I. I'm going to bring in the clips that I'm going to use for this project. I'll Shift and select, and then import. Now, I'm going to let my video compression and size of my videos determine my compression codec, or the compression of the timeline, as well as the proportions of it. So I'll click on the clip in question and I'll drag it directly into the timeline at the right. And it's put it in the timeline for me. Now I want to put a text element before it, and I'm going to move my playback head to 4 seconds, and I'll click and drag the clip, and it will snap automatically to the playback head here. By default, by reason of this horseshoe here, in Premiere, these clips will snap to the playback head and vice versa. So if I was to drag the playback head, it's going to snap at the end of the clip as well. You're welcome to use the Shift key if you want, and that just kind of accentuates the snap a bit. All right, now that I've moved my playback head 4 seconds to the beginning of my timeline, I'll put the playback head at the beginning, and I'll hit T on the keyboard. And when I do, it takes me to the text tool inside of Premiere. I'm going to click inside my viewport, just as if I were in Photoshop, and in here I can type whatever I want. And just like Photoshop or Illustrator, once I click back on my Move tool, I can now edit this. If I go over to the Effects control in the upper left-hand corner and click on it, now I see all the features that I have if I choose to change that text in any way. So I think I'll probably pick the font Myriad Pro. And once I've done, I'll choose Bold. And if I wanted to, I could change the size of it in this window, in the Effects channel. I could change the justification of it if I preferred it to be justified center. And just like in Photoshop or Illustrator, I could change the space between the lines as well. So that's pretty good. I'm going to zoom in on this because I'd like to have the text clip fade in over my video clip. So I'll drag the playback, holding the Shift, to the edge of my first video clip here below, and I'll hit plus on the keyboard just as if I were in After Effects. I'm going to put my cursor next to the text layer right over here outside the actual timeline, and if I scroll with the middle mouse down, it opens up the width of the video clip, and what's revealed is a white line. That white line is going to allow me to put a very simple fade out on this. I'm going to go to the toolbar and I'm going to click on the pen tool. I'll click where the pen, with the pen tool, where the playback head and the line through the text layer intersect. Then I'll click again at the end of the audio clip and pull that down as far as I can. And now I've got a fade out for that title text. I'm going to zoom back on my timeline by hitting minus on the keyboard. As long as the timeline is selected, and I can tell that by the blue line around it, I can now zoom in and out on it using the keys plus or minus. I'm going to go to the end of the first movie clip, and from there I will add 2 more seconds so I can put my next clip in. I'm going to go to the time code in the corner, I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to change that 38 seconds to 40 and hit return. At that point, I'm going to go back to my project window, and I will take the next video clip and drag it to the playback head. So now they're side by side. Now in this project, I would simply drag the remainder of my clips at 2-second intervals, and then I'd be prepared to export that movie. I'm going to put one more movie clip in, and then we'll come back and we'll export this as a final piece. I'm putting my playback head at the end of my last clip. I'll then hit O on the keyboard. You'll see a gray bar appear at the top of your timeline from the beginning to where the point at which your playback head rests. Now I'm going to go to File, Export, Export Media. A window will come up and it'll show me my video clip inside the window to the left here. I want to make sure, first of all, that the source range is that in and out point. That in and out point, again, is defined by that gray bar here. That means I won't get the rest of this timeline when I export. I'm going to go to the top right-hand corner of the export settings, and I'll choose the format H.264. I will click on the blue text next to the output name and direct it to my desktop of my computer. I'm going to name it and save, and now I'm going to click on export. And now my movie is complete.